everybody to a special edition of 8192 The Truth with my favorite person on the planet, Lad, Mad Dog Supernaw. And Lad, it just dawned on me with all this Rona stuff and everything that's going on that it is Autism Awareness Month. And you and I, we've kind of been in that. We know the only thing I know about autism is through you, and as you've grown up, probably the hardest thing for me has been just stepping back and allowing you to get out what's inside of you. I always tried to shelter or protect you or do whatever. And now that you're, becoming such just a great young man, I wonder if you could just spend a few minutes talking about your, not just whatever you feel comfortable with. What's been your experience as somebody that has fought his way through the spectrum, and still have different kind of struggles like everybody. Kind of what's been your experience, if you could sum it up, in a little bit. Is that okay?
It's going to be brief.
Okay.
So, first of all, if you guys don't know, I was diagnosed with autism when I was a toddler. I was 2.5 years old. And the first time that I really knew I was different was when I was in kindergarten. And my neighbor, Haley, who was a year older than myself, she would get on the normal bus like everybody else. She would get her little purse and stuff. And then 30 minutes later, I'd go on another bus, but it was a smaller bus for the kids that have special ed problems and stuff. That was the first time that I knew I was different. And I spent 7 years in a special ed program. And finally, when I was in 5th grade, I got promoted to general ed for the first time and was in there full time my last year of elementary school. And I've been without any support ever since. And it was definitely hard getting through a lot of obstacles in life, such as learning some such things, having to learn certain behaviors that weren't right, or basically just being normal. And despite the fact that I am normal on a lot of levels, I still have a label, and it still hinders me to this day.
That's beautiful, Ed. I don't even think we need to go any further than that. That's beautiful. All right. So, dude, what do these days just kind of run together? I forget what day it is. Every day feels like Saturday.
It certainly feels like that. I talked to Chael yesterday. I love to hear his points because he has very interesting points. He says it's basically like a vacation every day because you don't have to do anything, which is basically what it is. So do days run together for me? They certainly seem longer, but I don't think they run together. I can remember which day it is and stuff. But, I mean, I've basically gotten used to just going to the grocery store, getting outside, and going through drive-thrus to buy lunch. That's our life right now.
And one of the things that you said has been a positive thing with this is that you're becoming a better driver.
Yeah, I am.
That is really exciting. Plus, you started your first job. That's super, super, super exciting. That was Saturday at the Oregon Golf Club, which is a little weird to me that the golf clubs are open. People can go play golf, but the pro golfers aren't playing. It
is weird.
That's one sport that you think they could do. You think they could do baseball too, because the only people next to each other in baseball is the pitcher and the catcher. Well, no, when the guys are on base. But
There's
anyway,
60,000 fans to a stadium every game, so
um, so we're gonna do a thing tonight for Dana White, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Dana White and tell you some stories that you may not know. Um, so Dana bought, and then you can actually throw the actual numbers in for me. You know that Zuffa bought the UFC. When did they buy the UFC?
January 2001, and they had their first event at UFC 30.
Okay, and UFC 30 was where?
It was at the Trump Taj Mahal. It was on February 23rd, 2001. Tito Ortiz slammed Evan Tanner. Apparently, everybody thought he was dead because he slammed him so hard, and the octagon was wood at the time.
Okay, so then they went to the Japan, and then they came back, right?
No, that was the event before. It was the event before they went to Japan. And the next event was your first UFC event when Randy fought Pedro.
Okay, and when was that?
It was also in Atlantic City. It was at the Trump Taj Mahal, back when that casino still existed. He's the president now. So
Yeah, here. So
you didn't let me finish. It was at UFC 31. Randy fought Pedro the first time. It was on May 4th of that same year.
Of 2001. Okay, so the dealership opens in September of 2000. We put the gym in, man, I want to say January 2001, and Randy and Matt start training in the back of the dealership, and so we buy like 500 T-shirts to bring out to it was USA Auto, Team Quest. It might not even have been Team. It might have been Team Quest because I don't remember it having a name yet. But so
wow, 500 T-shirts.
So we go, and so the plan was to go out there, and because that's how fighters were making money is selling their own T-shirts. So I bring 500 T-shirts out there. Me and a friend of mine, Billy Francis, and once we get out there.
Do I know Billy Francis? That name doesn't ring a bell.
He knows you. You don't remember him. He's passed away.
That sucks. How did he pass away?
When we get out there, we find out that Zuffa so we can't sell the T-shirts. So my first time inside a UFC building was the day before the fight, and I was sitting next to Dana White.
The Randy Pedro fight?
Yeah, the Randy Pedro fight. I'm sitting next to Dana White and Randy, and Dana's got hair, and he's super, super nice, and he's super, super pumped, and he's showing Randy the walkout stuff, and kind of getting his feel and his input, and I thought he was a great guy, and to me, it was cool. Was Randy already the champ?
Yes, he was.
Okay, so
Kevin
yeah,
Randleman
because he beat Randleman. He beat Randleman, and that was his gym. He was still at his gym, and then he came over to USA Auto, and he fights Pedro. So, my big takeaway was that Trump was cool because back then you could only fight in a few places in the United States, and Trump let him fight there. There was only 3,500 people at that fight, and I had a corner pass, but I never used it. It just let me go anywhere I wanted to go, and I named it a cool guy pass because that's what it was. You could walk around anywhere you want. And one of the things that I noticed was how vulgar the fans were. Like, that place probably holds, I don't know, 8,000, maybe 10,000 people.
Only 3,500 people. estimate that were at the fight.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I bet I'm close.
That's why I said estimate.
I bet I'm close. And so I just noticed how vulgar the fight fans were. They were yelling, "Kill him!" and just really vulgar stuff.
What?
Yeah, they were, it was, I never in a million years thought the sport would ever get to where it was now, because I could have, after that
You look
next
great,
event.
by the way, with your haircut. I don't mean to keep interrupting, but
Hey, thank you.
yeah,
I actually cut it myself.
yeah, I saw that.
And I had to do it twice, and it's jacked up in 9 different places. But did you see how much poppy head I had
Yeah,
before I?
it's
That
like
was,
it's like you shaved your whole head for Shaney again, but
oh
uh,
man.
yeah,
Um, so
you're not bald. You actually look great. I don't see where everything's messed up at, but keep talking.
it just feels that way. So anyway, I it was just something that was cool, because I could have, on the next UFC, USA Auto could have been on the octagon, on the canvas for $10,000, and I had 10 grand. I could have, but it just didn't make any sense to me. And that's the one that was going to be in. Well, I don't know if that was the next one in. It's the first one in Vegas. So anyway, my first opinion of Dana White.
Vegas was in UFC 33.
Yeah, right after 9/11.
Yeah,
So, or no.
that was after 9/11. You were correct. It
Okay.
was 17 days after 9/11, and Dana said it's the worst event he's ever owned.
That wasn't the one. That wasn't the one Randy fought in.
No,
Okay.
he fought in the next event. He fought Pedro again. The next event.
Which was when?
It was in Las Vegas. I almost said L.A. It was on November 2nd, 2001.
Okay, so it was just a little bit after 9/11. All right, so let me stay on point, because I want to talk about Dana White. So the fight was amazing, and Randy, won a squeaker of a decision, and Matt won. Matt and Randy won. We didn't have anybody else. There was only like 4 people fighting out of the back of the dealership at that time. So the next event that I go to is UFC 34, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I got another cool guy pass, but this time I'm actually going to be a corner man. Because now I'm training with the guys. I'm actually Randy's biggest training partner, and
You were his biggest training partner at one point. That's crazy.
yeah, no, for about a year.
For a year?
Oh yeah, no, I learned how to fight by getting by him beating my ass. I mean, just beating my ass. He used to do so many dick things to me, like he would punch me in the thigh. Yeah, I didn't even know how to punch. I didn't even know how to punch. I was just trying to grab.
You were just an average Joe getting punched in the thigh. I mean, obviously you have wrestling experience, but the fact
I was, I got a lot better quick, but he used to really do some dick things to me. And the one I hated the most was
he would punch your thigh.
he would punch my thigh. And
that's basically like, I am so out of your league.
Oh God, yeah, right. So the Las Vegas fight, when he fights Pedro the second time, I'm getting a lot better. I mean, I'm nowhere near Randy, but I mean, I'm taking beating after beating after beating. It was just me, Randy. Chael was at college.
He cornered the Matt Lindland fight.
Matt Lindland, and I don't think Nick Quarry was over there yet. He might have been, but anyway, so we go out to this event, and I'm going to corner Lindland, but now Evan Tanner is training at the dealership, actually living at the dealership.
He lived at the dealership.
He lived at the dealership. We finally got him to come home to mine and Mom's house in Milwaukee the night before we were to leave.
My God.
And he was allergic to cats.
So his
so his head blew up. And
What?
yeah, Trish had to get him some antibiotics, and they didn't even know if he was going to be able to fight.
Oh
But
my gosh. His head didn't look messed up to me, but I
no,
believe it.
it went down. But we didn't know when he got on the plane to go to Vegas. We did not know if he was going to be able to fight.
Oh my
So
gosh. He did end up beating Homer Moore, who was a really tough guy. He wasn't really well known, but people that knew him knew he was tough.
no, he's great.
Admitted him.
So 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 I got a corner pass. The fighters meeting, the fighter and their corners meeting was in a
I
room.
didn't know any of this.
Yeah, so the fighter, so the fighter and they had a fighter meeting and their corners, and so all of the fighters went into a room that wasn't bigger than, definitely not the size of a classroom, probably the half size of a classroom. You know,
Wow, that's tiny.
all the fighters and all the corners were in there, and a lot of the guys cornered more than one guy. And back then, you didn't need to get any kind of. You just needed to fill out something and pay like $35, and you could be a corner guy. And so me and Chael were gonna.
Poor man costed $35 for you.
Yeah, I think I might be wrong, but I that number sticks out at me. And
Wow.
I didn't really care because I was gonna be the second corner for. Well, hold on, let me back up a little bit about Randy. So Randy kicks the shit out of me the whole training camp. I mean, the whole training camp, and I'm pissed because I don't have a black eye. I'm like, you know, I should at least have a black eye. The very last day of training, the very last day of training, he gets on top of me and it's small gloves and he just jam shots me and gives me a black eye, gives me a mouse. And I was like, what'd you do that for? And he's like, you've been asking for it, you know? And I was like,
Oh
okay.
my
I was
gosh.
like, okay, fair enough.
Oh wow.
So so we go out there. The fighter meeting is in this little room, and
How
you
did
know,
mom react to the black eye? Did she know you were getting your ass handed to you? But
I don't think mom ever cared. Like, mom probably didn't even know. Like,
what? She
yes,
had to notice your black eye.
no, mom. Yeah. So anyway, so the fighter meeting's in this little room, and I just think that like Matt's gonna just kill Baroni, and Baroni's, you know, yapping back and forth, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'll smack this kid right now. Um, and then the next day, I lost my corner pass. I
Oh
lost it.
no.
I don't know where it went. And I got in the elevator with Dana, and I said, hey Dana, uh, I'm cornering. You know, I'm from USA Auto or whatever. I'm cornering, and so Dana said, here. He took me from the elevator at the MGM, rolled me into another room, got me a corner pass, and then went off. And I was like, man, that was really cool. Like,
That is really cool.
yeah.
I actually gained some respect for him after that.
Um, so no,
You tell me the story.
Dana was so cool. He was built. He literally built this thing. And what happened with Dana is he did everything in the world for these fighters, and they kept screwing him over back and forth over and over and over. And he never quit what he was doing. He just kept moving on and moving on. So some of the attitude that he has and he has gotten over the years is because he's been literally screwed over by so many fighters. The fact that people bitch about the money and this, that, and the other, dude, the sport didn't exist a minute ago. You know, he literally built this thing. So for Dana to have built this whole thing to $1 billion business, and now that we're in this pandemic, to be this close to pulling off UFC 249 all the way up to the very top, where the head of Disney asked him to stand down, asked him as a he didn't have to. He said no. They already spent all the money at Tachi. Um, They had everything lined up, had everything ready to go. So, you know, in a lot of ways, Dana gets a bad rap, but one of the reasons he gets a bad rap is he has been screwed over by so many fighters. You know, you are a ride or die with our boy Randy. You know, their their relationship is their relationship. You know, um, but yeah, so Dana for sure gets a bad rap. I got so much respect for the guy. It's not even funny. I think it would be great, uh, you know, for you to work for the UFC. I think that would just be phenomenal because you know more about the UFC than anybody.
Anybody you've ever met. I don't. I think there might be a couple people that are close, but I'm basically kind of a savant at this.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And we're gonna do we'll sign off here and then we're gonna come back and do a special bit. I'll put them both together, but I'll also cut them up because I want to send um, Dana one. So um, I just you know it's amazing. The UFC has been such a big part of our life together.
Can I
And
ask you a question real quick?
sure.
Do you know? I don't know if you know this. Do you know if Randy screwed Dana over or not?
No, that's just a misunderstanding, man. It's just those guys should bury that, man. Hopefully, at the end of this, when we come out of this and people are like, all right, let's put the dumb shit behind us and let's move on. You know, that's where I'm at in my head. You know, I want to be better at everything in my life and not worry about stupid shit. But yeah, no, it's just a misunderstanding. I would love to see Randy back with the UFC in some manner as an ambassador. But you just became a fan. What was your first when you decided, just like you decided to become a Cub fan and you learned everything in the world about the Cubs? Uh, when did you decide to become a UFC fan?
As soon as I saw those documentaries about Randy and Chael, and that was around when I was in fifth grade. I tried to watch my first UFC event when Chael fought Rashad Evans. I think God put me to sleep during that event. I fell asleep during the fight,
Where
which
did we live? Was that at the Underland?
yeah, it was, and of course Chael got his ass kicked. He didn't even try. So he would have beaten Rashad if he tried even a little bit.
Uh,
So it would have been at least a better fight.
all right. So your first experience where you're like getting interested is in which number is that?
That number was UFC 167, but my first pay per view that I watched was UFC 181. It was when Johnny Hendricks fought Robbie Lawler the second time.
Okay, so from 181 to 249, you have only missed, I believe, two pay-per-views, and one of them was because you were on a plane.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And that seems in that short amount of time from 181 to 249, which is 19 and 50,
Almost 6 years.
whatever number that is, but you actually know the whole category, the whole Bible of the UFC, and I can't wait to do this thing that we've been doing here in a few minutes. So love you, lad. We'll finish this up here in a second.